what sports did you play when you were a kid or do?
Gymnastics was my huge sport. I competed in gymnastics when I was a kid up until like I was a teenager.
Okay.
So I love gymnastics. In fact, I had way worse injuries doing gymnastics than I ever did from martial arts and from boxing. So, you know, I landed on my head and landed on my neck, landed on my crotch, all kinds of stuff. So gymnastics can be pretty brutal. I competed in track and field, and I loved swimming. I loved climbing trees and jumping off cliffs and doing tricks on my skateboard and my bike and all that stuff. I mean, I just love all types of sports.
Yeah.
But gymnastics was my big sport before I got into martial arts.
It's the best background you can have, right, for anything. Right?
Really?
Yeah. Say like if you're as a kid, right, like martial arts, but then also doing gymnastics, right? Besides that, gymnastics. So because you learn your body, right?
Absolutely, air awareness.
Yeah. So then you start fighting pro, and then you start getting fights, and you start building up your record. And what's the next I guess milestone or big thing that happened?
So I guess at that point I kind of hit a dead end. You know, I fought pretty regularly.
Where do you go next?
Yeah, so I fought pretty regularly as a professional, and I won most of my fights, and I won a couple world titles. But again, I was in such a small weight class. I was in the 105-pound weight class, and I did get, for a female in the weight class, I got a lot of fights, but there was nowhere to go. Okay, there was no huge fights for me. It's not like, you know, Muhammad Ali wouldn't be Muhammad Ali if he didn't have Joe Frazier.
Right,
he didn't
right,
have
right.
George Foreman.
Right.
You know, if they didn't have these big fights, these big epic fights, something to aspire to, then, you know, you need two to tango, right?
Yeah.
So there was nobody in my weight class that was a name or that there was any excitement. Funny enough, I actually did as an amateur.
You had some good rivals.
I had some good rivalries in the amateurs. The people actually followed, like on the internet and in the newspapers and stuff like that. But I didn't have that as a professional. And so after, I think I was professional for 5 years. After 5 years, I kind of started thinking, well, I'm not making any more money. The chances of like a TV contract or like a big money fight, like I didn't see it happening. And so I made a decision to retire one day. Like it literally came out of the blue. I was in the gym one day. I was hitting the speed bag. And I mean, it was tough being a professional fighter. It was really tough, mentally, emotionally, physically.
You have to go all in. You have to fully commit everything of yourself, right?
And if you really calculate that this was a 24 hours a day job, I mean, I was not making a lot of money. And I was developing health problems. Like my sinuses were messed up. I was getting sick a lot. My immune system was so run down. I was sick all the time. I had serious sinus issues, sore throats, bladder infections, all these things, right? And so, again, I was hitting the speed bag one day, and I said, what if I just, like, retired? And this, like, wave of relief washed over me. Like, wow, that would be amazing. And I just, like, went to my coach and said, yeah, I think I'm done. And he what? Because I was only 29 at the time, and I was in my prime.
Right.
And I hadn't declined at all. I was probably still getting better, but I knew that there was nowhere for me to go, and I just had nothing to aspire to. So I said, now's the time to hang it up.
Intuitively, like as soon as you made that decision, like you just felt big sense of relief. Like, okay.
So much. And again, there was nothing leading up to that. It came over me one day, and I had no plan at all of like how I was going to support myself or what I was going to do.